besides etymology work, what other kinds of hobbies do you partake in?
Ooh, well, I like to do some writing every now and again. That's the thing. I've been getting back into that lately. I sort of like fall in and out of it, but I've been doing a little bit of writing lately, and that makes me happy.
Can you write something for us, like off the cuff right now? Just
No,
off
absolutely.
the top of your head?
It is agonizingly slow the way I write. Constantly editing myself.
Can you give us one word then, I guess, to start it off?
Glitter.
Wow, you're starting off this... I don't know if there's a single work in the English language that starts with the word glitter.
The sentence starts with glitter?
The whole thing. Well,
it could just be within the first sentence. The first sentence of the thing that I've been writing has the word glitter in it. That was why I thought of it.
Oh, that's fun. That's great. Wow, I love it. We're gonna be begging for the final outcome someday.
No. Nobody asked. That's the quickest way to get me to stop writing is if anybody wants to read it.
Welcome to Butter No Parsnips. Every week on Butter No Parsnips, your hosts Emily Moyers and Kyle Imperator take you on an adventure through the weird, wacky, wonderful, and sometimes even wicked world of one wayside word. Strange characters, delightful bits, and general joyousness abound. Join them as they test each other's etymological expertise.
Hey everybody, welcome to Butter No Parsnips. I'm Emily Moyers.
And I'm Kyle Imperator, and boy, are you guys at home. I can hear you banging down the doors right now, clamoring for a word. That word today is Parergon. Parergon. Parergon.
No, hate an R-E-R in the middle of a word. That's rough.
You don't like a word that in the middle of it has a r?
That's bad.
In the middle, not even the beginning.
That's bad. It just sounds like someone's like revving an engine in the middle.
They are, basically.
Parergon. That's Parergon. The word, Kyle?
The word, I listen, I can change it if you want, but it's going to take me another couple weeks. It's Parergon.
Okay. I'm trying to... it's not going to help me, but always the first question in my head is the language of origin.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling Greek?
Yeah. Ultimately Greek. You got it.
Yep. I guess, I mean, the P-A-R, it's conjuring like parallel and parallelogram. Is it related to that?
Yes, it is, Emily.
Is it like definition? Like, does that help me?
Half of it.
Oh, yeah. So I got to break down the word parallel and figure that out, huh?
Yeah.
That stinks.
Yep. Unfortunately, yes.
And is the gon like a shape? Like a hexagon, octagon?
Has nothing to do with polygons.
Okay.
Not a thing.
Or is it P-A-R and then ergon is a segment?
Well, if
like, how does the word break down?
Would that be giving it away?
I just have to think
that
whether
was the
I'm
hint
thinking
in itself.
Okay. Ergon. Like ergonomic? Is that how that breaks down? That is, right?
Yeah. Okay. You're on a great track here, Emily.
So this is I am actually going to break the word down. That's amazing. So the pair, here's what I have no idea if this is right, but the pair, I'm thinking like side by side, and the ergon, I'm thinking work. So is this like a side gig? Is this work you do outside of work?
Oh my God, Emily, that is basically it. You got it. Wow. You broke it down.
Nice. Wow. I love how I started so against. I was like, there's no way it's going to help me to figure out the language of origin. And then as soon as I did.
That was incredible. Wow.
150 episodes in, I think I've finally got the hang of this.
Yeah, wow. It's all downhill from here is what it means.
3 years was all it took.
Shut the podcast down.
That's it. Our training is complete. We can move on now. Nice. So what is it?
So Parergon, means...
Still hate the sound of that.
Parergon. I know. I wanted to say Parergon, but it's just not it. It's Parergon.
Bad.
I know. So Parergon is secondary or supplementary work or business, or it can be a piece of work that is supplementary to or a byproduct of a larger work. So like an addendum to something that is a Parergon, right?
Wow.
It's a larger work. It can also mean, in painting, something subordinate or accessory to the main subject, hence more generally an embellishment or an ornamental addition.
Like a cherry on top kind of a thing.
Not necessarily like in the case of extra special. It's more like this is the main thing and this is the side stuff that accompany it, sort of.
Sure.
My hint was fries. So it's more like the main dish is the burger.
The side dish.
The side is the fries. It's not special. It's just the side, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So naturally, the word comes from the Latin parergon or parergum, meaning extra ornament or detail. And this comes from the ancient Greek parergon, meaning subordinate or secondary business. And it's the neuter form of parergos, meaning beside or in addition to the main subject or work, subordinate, incidental, all basically the same meaning, right?
Yeah.
So you broke it down perfectly, Emily. Couldn't get any better.
Oh.
The prefix para, P-A-R-A, comes from a sense meaning beside, by, or near. And it's where we get the English prefix para, P-A-R-A, from, as in...
Parallel?
A parallel, which literally means beside one another, from the ancient Greek phrase allos allon, meaning one another or each other. It's allos allon.
Oh.
Yeah. Or another example is parasite, which literally meant beside food, from the ancient Greek cytos, meaning food. How? Right?
Because it feeds on?
No, it has nothing to do, the original definition had nothing to do with insects or like animals. The ancient Greek parasitos literally meant one who eats at the table of another, especially one who frequents the tables of the rich and earns his welcome by flattery. So it was a person, was a parasite.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when people use the word parasite to refer to a person, it's not a metaphor based on the bug. It just is what the word means.
It just is what the word means.
Wow. That's such good knowledge.
Isn't that great? It's vice versa. The leeches are named after people.
Wow, really good.
The other side of the word, the suffix ergon, meaning work, labor, or task, clearly familiar to you, Emily, and to the podcast, thanks to your coverage of, which word?
Thaumaturgy.
Thaumaturgy, yes, episode 113 with Amy Vorpahl, in which you let us in on ergon's relation to words like...
Ergonomic?
Ergonomics, literally meaning the rules of work. So, Emily, I don't know about you. You brought up polygon. We're not going to cover that today, but I thought, I did think, is that related? It's not. Yeah. That suffix in like polygon or octagon and those shape words comes from the ancient Greek golnia, which means angle. So that's
sure
not related here because of ergon, right? But one word that I was like, these two words have got to be related was paragon, which is a person of outstanding merit who serves as a model of some quality. And I thought, how are these words not related? They're kind of related.
Oh.
Because paragon comes from the Anglo-Norman paragon, meaning perfect diamond, from the Italian paragone, meaning comparison or touchstone. Literally a stone used to verify the quality of gold alloys by rubbing, by touching.
Mm-hmm.
And from whence we get the figurative sense of a touchstone as a standard of comparison.
Yeah.
From
I knew that
touchstone.
because I came across somebody ranting online about how in modern sense, people use the word touchstone to mean like a reference that everybody knows. And he's like, that's not what the word means. And I'm like, okay, the meanings of words evolve. Yeah, like, literally relax.
It's figurative. You ever read a poem, dude?
If we all use it that way and we all know what we mean, then yes, it does mean that.
Freaking Amelia Bedelia here.
Like, relax.
But no, so the Italian paragone in turn comes from the ancient Greek paragonao, which meant to sharpen one thing against another, from our prefix para, meaning beside or near. But the suffix here is the ancient Greek akone, meaning a sharpening stone.
Oh.
So related by prefix, not by suffix. But today's paragon, Emily, is Parergon.
Parergon, which is awful.
Paragon, but
with
you're
an
drunk.
R that should not be there.
A pirate's paragon.
Is not a is a Parergon.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you that General McCaffrey is a Parergon. We should all follow in his stead. I'm going to need to change of pants. At least he's, aware enough to tell you.
Yeah.
So, Emily, in ancient Greek, the word was used to refer to, as I mentioned earlier, secondary or supplementary work or business, or work that is subsidiary to one's ordinary employment. And it was often translated into English as the word bywork, B-Y-W-O-R-K. An example appears in the circa 200 work Dipnosophiste, or The Dinner Experts, which is the only surviving work of the ancient Greek rhetorician Athenaeus, and it's a fictionalized account of a series of banquets and the ensuing dinner table conversations had by members of the literary world, the so-called experts at dinner, right?
Yeah, that's just how a lot of Greek books were. It was like, I would like to talk about this topic, and the way I'm going to do it is by writing a fictional conversation between people.
Yep.
I don't know how to just write an essay as myself. It needs to be through the mouth of Cicero for some reason.
So the worst part about it is he wrote this, and it's a frame story in that he's saying, "Oh, my friend told me that he went to these parties," and so he wasn't even there. You know,
it's like the Moby Dick approach.
Yeah. But anyway, in this work appears a quote from the ancient Greek tragic poet Agathon, which reads, Tomein parergon, ergon os piometha, todergon os parergon ekponumetha. My ancient Greek.
Applause.
Thank you very much.
Throwing flowers.
Thank you. Yeah. It can be translated approximately into something like, thus do we render our avocation a vocation, but contrive to make our vocation an avocation.
If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Exactly. Am I right? It's all the same.
Yeah.
But so the earliest English use of parergon in this sense is partly thanks to this saying, as it appears in the cleric Thomas Walkington's 1607 The Optic Glass of Humours, or The Touchstone of a Golden Temperature, or The Philosopher's Stone to Make a Golden Temper. We've come full circle in the first 15 minutes. It's amazing.
Wow. Perfect. I love how many titles you need. It's like when you do a YouTube video with multiple thumbnails just to see what performs the best.
That's really what it is. Like the second and third one aren't even that different.
No, but they're fully different from the first one.
Yes, The Optic Glass of Humours.
What?
But anyway, so in this book, after quoting Agathon, Walkington explains, according to the sense of Agathon in Athenaeus, to make a bywork a work is to make our work a bywork. Yet am I not plunged over head and ears in perurgas. So he's like, I'm doing anyway. He told us not to, but I'm still doing it. but it's gonna happen.
A man needs his hobbies. Am I right?
Yeah, parergas, he said, because the plural of Parergon is parerga.
But he pluralized it again.
Yeah. It just happened a lot, As a parergal note, Emily, in Dipnosophiste, one of the characters gives a whole speech on parasites, and just a part of it reads, "Parasite is nowadays a disreputable term, but among the ancients we find it used of something sacred, equivalent to companion at a sacred feast."
Oh, so not necessarily someone unwanted stealing from your dinner table.
Right, just someone who was also there, yeah.
Sure, but it's that Greek xenia. If a stranger shows up at your door, you got to invite him in for dinner. It's the rule.
Yeah, absolutely gotta.
You'll have bad luck forever if you send him away.
Yeah, wow, and now that I'm thinking about it, it really plays into all of that hospitality.
Yeah, you have to have him at your table.
And being a parasite is just about taking advantage of that. It still is today.
But it's your duty as the person. You have to be a respectful guest too.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a whole ritual.
Well, Emily, I have another second, even more paragonic note here.
Okay.
But from this work, we get the words dipnosophist, which is a master of the art of dining, particularly learned conversation.
Oh, wow.
And dipnosophistry, which is skilled table talk. And so perhaps these are things that you might need to be a successful parasite.
Is the beginning just DIP or is it
DEIP?
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
It's like diaper.
It is.
Yeah, right. But Emily, a more recent example of Parergon comes from the letters of British politician Sir Harold George Nicholson, writing to his wife, the author and garden designer Vida Sackville West. And he states, "I don't think that you will really go down to posterity as a writer of gardening articles. You will be remembered as a poet. So your gardening things will be regarded as a mere Parergon," and then in parentheses, a bywork, B-Y-E, like goodbye work.
Bye!
And then he says, like the flute playing of Frederick the Great. So
I guess.
he was a flute player, in case you didn't know. And I don't know if Frederick the Great would be happy to know that people didn't like...
That was his bywork?
That people were like, oh, and he also played flute.
Like, I thought that was my work. No,
it wasn't
Sorry,
good enough,
bud.
It wasn't until much later, around the 1920s, that the word began to be used to refer to a piece of work that is supplementary to or a byproduct of a larger work. An example I have here is from a 1963 Times review of a Leonard Bernstein concert that stated, "At the end of the program, he and his orchestra played the suite of symphonic dances from West Side Story, a Parergon of the musical show and a very distinguished one."
So just like an extra, like an encore is a Parergon?
No.
It's
It's so the symphonic dances from West Side Story is like the dance music from the musical that was taken aside and made into an orchestral work. So it's a piece of the whole.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I'm not sure.
It's not. So I'm going to read a second quote to help you because I had another quote that I was going to use.
Please do.
The other quote I have here is from a 1975 Times Literary Supplement, which wrote that Henry Bradley's book, The Making of English, is what it is only because it arose as an inspired parergon to its author's main work as co-editor of the Great Oxford Dictionary. So his main work was writing the dictionary, right?
But that inspired him to do this other thing.
It didn't inspire him. Part of the work that he did on the Oxford Dictionary became the book.
Okay, got it.
Does that make sense?
I think so. Like
it's a byproduct of the larger work.
Right, sure.
Just say yes, and the audience will be like, wow, she understands. We understand too.
No, I think I do. Okay. Yeah,
all right.
I'm with you.
All right, time to change gears, Emily. There's another definition of parergon that I mentioned earlier. As it seems, in Latin, the term began to be used by painters to describe an ornamental addition or embellishment. Sir Thomas Eliot's 1538 Latin dictionary thus defines parergon as something added to being no part of the matter, as when a painter doeth make an image, he doeth added to trees or townus. Isn't that clear?
That clears it right up.
Clears
Perfect.
it right up.
Trees or townus.
He doeth he doeth. I don't even know if he's saying he adds trees or towns to the painting.
That's what I thought.
I guess, right? But yeah, so it's like, all this extra stuff here.
Sure. If you're like you paint what you want to paint, and you're like, I feel like it needs a background, so you add trees and buildings.
That's exactly it. So, like, it was used in, like, portrait painting and landscape painting to refer to, like, the background elements. And so, like, landscape became synonymous with Parergon.
Oh, sure, because
right?
it's the land in the background of whatever your main thing is.
But as landskip. I don't know why it's always landskip.
Wow. Because you skip over it to do the main thing.
Yeah. Actually, I've got a quote here. So it shifted to mean the background of scenery in portrait or figure painting. Thomas Blount's Glossographia has this quote as the definition. An expressing of the land by hills, woods, castles, valleys, rivers, cities, etc., as far as may be showed in our horizon. All that which in a picture is not of the body or argument thereof is landskip, parergon, or bywork.
There you go. Thanks, Blount.
Thanks, Blount. But this sense of the word was actually, Emily, first translated in the late 1500s, about 30 years, maybe 10 years, before Parergon comes to English, as the word parergy, Parergy.
Oh.
It's used with an IE a lot in some of the, like, Middle English, early English stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Parergon makes more sense for modern English, so that kind of took over. But parergy later also meant something which is beside the point or not relevant to the business in hand.
That's good.
As when the pentamerally preoccupied Sir Thomas Browne wrote in his 1646 Pseudodoxia Epidemica, the scriptures being serious and commonly omitting such parergies, it will be unreasonable from hence to condemn all laughter.
Okay.
So he was just saying, like, the scriptures are so serious that they don't include anything that's besides the point. I don't know what the condemning all laughter part is, but
we can't
who
laugh.
knows?
This is serious.
The book is called Pseudodoxia Epidemica.
The man was obsessed with pentagons.
But Parergon's earliest English use comes in a 1601 translation of ancient Roman author Pliny the Elder's Naturalis Historia, or Natural History, in which he describes how the ancient Greek painter Protogenes amends one of his famed paintings, saying, Adjecerit parvulus naves longas in iis, quae pictores parerga appellant, or wherein he painted among those byworks, which painters called parerga, certain small galleys. He had little ships to his painting.
Little ships. That's listen, in my book that makes every painting better, and I don't care if there's water in the painting or not.
Just landed ships.
Yeah.
Demolished.
100%.
Paintings of ships in paintings in the painting.
Yes, that'll do. Or like a ship in the bottle on somebody's desk.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It can always be made better with a little galley.
Emily, this parergic addition by the painter is actually very important because Protogenes may have started his career as a ship painter. And so the ships here are used to add a historical context to his life, a biographical context, right? Both physically and figuratively framing the main subject of the work, right?
How is it framing?
Physically or figuratively? Physically, because it's framing the main subject, right? It's not like framing it entirely, but it's framing it by being around the main subject, right?
Sure. Okay. I guess I'm not visualizing the image, but I'm with you in spirit.
Like there's a thing in the center and then there's ships around it, so it's framing.
It's like ships all around. Okay. I guess I was imagining like one ship in the background.
It's not as literal as that. It's not as literal as that.
Okay.
You can frame something without entirely surrounding it,
yes.
no?
Yes. In my head, it was like one little ship in the background. So I was like, how is it framing?
Honestly, I don't know. I haven't seen the painting because it burned down, so we don't get to see it. So
listen, I trust you, buddy. I trust you in all
me.
things.
I don't know. Anyway, Emily, art historian Verity Platt, which, oh God, what a great name, right? Verity Platt. I don't know. I love it. Verity, your thumbs up in my book. Art historian Verity Platt writes in her 2018 Of Sponges and Stones, Matter and Ornament in Roman Painting. As described by Pliny, the little ships in Protogenes' side pieces not only frame the famous painting, they also open a window onto a life work in progress, one that moves from humble and less than fertile beginnings to the pinnacle of glorious display.
Wow.
Protogenes.
Ships are a glorious display.
Ships are glorious. So, Emily, by extension from Protogenes, from not literally from Protogenes, but from that kind of sense of the word, right?
Yeah.
In modern times, Parergon is most used in the field of semiotics. Do you know what semiotics is? Do you remember from any of our library classes?
Isn't it something that's kind of out there?
Yeah. It's abstract for sure. Semiotics is the study of signs and their meanings.
Yeah.
So like symbols and what they represent, or words as symbols and what the meanings of things are.
So am I right that like that could be in a very grounded sense or in a very like pseudoscience-y sense?
No, it's not pseudoscience. It's just an abstract philosophical.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not pseudoscience. I mean,
I guess I was imagining it as like we're interpreting signs, you know?
No.
But not.
I mean,
just,
maybe,
like,
but I think it's just
symbols.
Yeah, okay. it's just a philosophical.
Okay.
Like it's a section of philosophy.
Sure.
And Parergon's use in this sense is thanks to philosopher Jacques Derrida and his essay Parergon and his 1978 book La vérité au peinture.
I think I talked about Derrida in my lit theory course in college.
Oh,
it's ringing a bell. Derrida rings a bell.
Read that essay right now.
Read that essay?
Yeah,
I said I read. I didn't write.
Oh, I thought you said you wrote about.
No, I read about. I'm pretty sure that was one of the theories that we covered. But talk more about it, and that'll ring a bell.
Yeah. So that book, The Truth in Painting, is where Derrida writes a lot of his thoughts about Parerga, and they're heavily influenced by the philosopher Immanuel Kant, who wrote about ornamentation in art, and he theoretically, philosophically divided the art, or ergon, as a painting or a building might be, the artwork, from its parergon, as in the frame to a piece of art, or the columns to a building, They're kind of supporting it. Derrida defines Parerga as that which should not become, by distinguishing itself, the principal subject, and which should not be allowed to take precedence over the essential, comparing it to the notion of the hors d'oeuvre, literally French for outside, hors de, and work, oeuvre. Hors d'oeuvre, Emily, originally came to English not talking about a side dish, but as an adverb, meaning out of the ordinary course of things. So doing something like not in the normal way, you were doing it hors d'oeuvre.
You were doing it hors d'oeuvre.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Isn't that really good?
That is.
But Derrida continues to say that despite a Parergon's position as against, beside, and above and beyond the ergon, the work accomplished, the accomplishment of the work, it is not incidental. It is connected to and cooperates in its operation from the outside.
It is interlocked.
Interlocked, exactly.
Yeah.
Educationalist Kieran O'Halloran, in his 2017 book, Posthumanism and Deconstructing Arguments, explains how Derrida pushed against Kant, saying, Kant's delimiting of the ergon from the parergon is a delusion. This is because parerga are always affecting how we view an ergon. How we view a painting can be affected by where it is framed. lit, and hung, as well as how it is framed, hung, lit. Indeed, parerga may exist in the center of artworks.
It's like a form and content discussion,
Yeah.
Like they both you can't separate them.
Chicken, egg. Where does one begin? Where does the other end?
That's right. That's right.
Super philosophical.
That's the question when people say like it's a chicken and egg situation. They're asking where does it begin and where does.
Yeah. I've got this rooster. When has it stopped being an egg? Is it egged right now? We're living in a post-egg world, Emily.
We are with the prices nowadays. Am I right?
But anyway, Emily, in his 1988 book, Plato, Derrida, and Writing, Jasper Neal writes that Derrida consistently shows the fundamental necessity of the parergon, outside, to the ergon, inside, continuing, without the outside, the inside cannot distinguish itself from itself. Thus, in a hard-to-think way, the outside is in the inside from the beginning, because the inside requires the outside in order to be an inside. Straightforward. We love philosophy. Emily, perhaps I've let the bywork become the work here. So before this episode turns any more parergastical, I implore you to use parergon in a sentence.
Oh, wow. I have to think which way I want to use it, because they were all good ways. Oh, no, I thought of a way earlier, and then
Love it.
So our afterthoughts posts are often the parergons of episodes that we do, which you can gain access to on our Patreon for just $5 a month.
Bring it home! Wow, Emily. Strong start, strong finish. The middle, we can pick and choose. We can condense, But wow, good job, Emily.
Thanks, Kyle.
Fantastic. I think to top that off, your hors d'oeuvre is going to be a little game.
Beautiful.
Emily, your game today is called Got the Urge to Urgy.
Yeah. Hell yeah, buddy.
Emily, ergon's most recognizable descendants in English are those that end in ergy. E-R-G-Y.
E-R-G-Y?
E-R-G-Y.
I was thinking U-R-G-Y.
I know, we're not going to do those today.
That's fair.
Because those usually have an extra step, because they go through ancient Greek worker, orgos, to get the U. Orgos. So...
Kyle works so hard on his pronunciations, you guys.
Emily, for today's paragetic play, I'm going to give you hints about these words that end in E-R-G-Y, and you'll have to guess them, okay?
Yeah.
Emily, referring to the general concept of power, strength, and force, the sense of this word used in physics wasn't coined until 1802, when English polymath Thomas Young defined it as the product of the mass of a body into the square of its velocity.
Energy?
Energy, Emily. You got it.
Cool.
Yes, from the ancient Greek energia, meaning activity, from the prefix en, meaning in. I'm slowly losing it, folks.
Uh-oh, we gotta finish this episode quick.
Okay, next clue, Emily. Now seen as a corporate buzzword, this word was originally used in a theological context to refer to one's co-partnership with Christ and with God.
Synergy?
Synergy. You got it, Emily.
That's the first urgy word I thought of.
Yeah. From the ancient Greek, synergia, meaning cooperation, from the prefix syn, meaning with or together. I think in English it actually comes from a group of people who called themselves synergists because they believed in the cooperation with God.
I wonder if that's also where you get like there's a word for like a religious group or building that's a synod, S-Y-N-O-D.
Oh, we're gonna Google it.
I feel like that's gotta be connected.
It's synod. It's similar. It comes from the ancient Greek synodos, meaning assembly or meeting. So it's like meeting path.
But it's not necessarily connected to like the synergy of you and God.
I don't think so.
Okay. I stand corrected. I sit
corrected. But it's good. Emily, all right, here's your last one. This word was coined by Austrian pediatrician Clemens von Pirke in 1906 after noticing that patients who had previously received injections of horse serum or smallpox vaccine had quicker, more severe reactions to a second injection.
Oh, allergy?
Allergy, Emily, you got it. From the ancient Greek allos, meaning other, as in allos alone, one another, from which we get parallel. Full circle, folks. We got back there. And I want to thank the Academy. I want to thank my mom.
Great episode, Kyle. I really like this word. I don't like the sound of the word, but I like all the meanings of the word.
Thank you. I appreciate you putting up with the kind of abstraction of a lot of it. A lot to deal with.
No, it was good though. I feel like this is a word that, like, if you can wrap your head around how to use it, it is very applicable.
Absolutely. A parergon. Yeah. I mean, what we're doing here is parergal, right? It's like we're hoping to make the bywork work, you know?
Hey, and if you subscribe today, hey everybody. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube at Butter No Parsnips, and you can find Butter No Parsnips on other social media, on Facebook and Instagram at Butter No Parsnips Podcast, and on TikTok at Butter No Parsnips. And if you like today's episode and want to support our parochial work, consider giving us a 5-star rating or review wherever you heard us.
And if you really like today's episode, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/butternoparsnips. Donating $5 or more gets you exclusive access to Buttered Parsnips, our After Hours podcast.
Thanks so much to all of you. You help us make what we make.
And with that, I've been Kyle Imperator.
And I've been Emily Moyers, and this has been Butter No Parsnips.
Butter No Parsnips is produced by Seth Glicksman, Emily Moyers, and myself, Kyle Imperator. The main and accompanying themes were composed by Kyle Imperator.